Climb Across Minnesota came to Bagley in the summer of 2011, supported by a Minnesota State Arts Board Access Grant, funded in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, with money from the Legacy Amendment, approved by the people of Minnesota on November 4, 2008. Here is our story. The Climb performers were welcomed in Bagley, and their short plays excited people of all ages. But the story of Climb Across Minnesota begins much earlier, when Bagley and 25 other small communities decided to bring live theater to their towns in a very unique way. Peg Wetley, the founder of Climb, describes the project.
You have a very important role to play. You will decide which 3 of our 6 plays will perform in your community. You will help generate excitement about the plays and make sure that people come to see them. And you'll contribute to a conversation about theater in your area. Each of you cares about your community, or you wouldn't have taken your valuable time to get involved in this project. We know how proud you are of the assets and creativity in each of your communities. You have shown the courage to look honestly at your community and say there are issues that you want to talk about. Our job is to use the wonderful vehicle of live theater to help you do exactly that. This summer, we will be traveling to your communities where we will perform at one of your fairs or festivals. The plays that Climb will be presenting are very short, only 15 minutes long. We'll perform these 3 plays 6 to 9 times on one day. The plays will be performed outdoors without a stage. Our actors will simply pull their trucks into a predetermined area of the festival or fairground. They'll perform in front of their truck, which will be painted to serve as a backdrop or set for the plays. The beginning of each play will feature loud crowd-gathering antics. Audiences will be drawn to the noise and activity and will stand around the actors as they perform. When the actors are not performing, they will be mingling with the crowd, learning more about the community, and sharing stories about their lives in the theater.
Dr. Jim Gamboni, a national expert on generational relationships, helps us understand why the project needed to involve all the generations in each community. The reason that you're gathering for this project in a generational and intergenerational conversation is this. We learn very important things at very formative ages, usually between the ages of 8 and 14. Each of us forms some very powerful core values. And it's those values that stay with us for the rest of our lives. For example, when you get to be middle age, you sometimes experience a crisis. And when you experience that crisis, you don't look back on the money that you've accumulated and the professional positions that you have, but rather you go back to those core values that you learned between the ages of 8 and 14. And it's those core values that help you get balance and help you find out and determine what it is that you want to do to meet that crisis. It's those core values for each of our generations that we need to understand, we need to respect, and we need to appreciate. But we can't just stop there by understanding that each of the generations is different. And that's the format that you're going to be experiencing today. You'll talk generationally, but then we're going to challenge you to come together intergenerationally to decide on the 3 plays that you're going to offer to your communities and what those issues are about intergenerationally. And it's that challenge that we need to offer to every one of our communities in Minnesota and across the country. Because in an aging society, we will not do very well if we do that aging society as isolated and separated generational cohorts. It's only if we can work together across the generations, respecting, caring, and cooperating together, that we'll be able to do much better in an aging society facing the issues that we need to face. And so I congratulate all of you for coming to this intergenerational conversation. And hopefully, This will provide a model for you and maybe a little bit of an inspiration for how other meetings might be conducted in your communities across this great state of Minnesota. All 26 community leaders were trained how to organize and conduct intergenerational conversations about the obstacles and barriers to live theater, making suggestions on how to overcome those obstacles, and then each community chose 3 plays from a menu of 6 plays that Climb Theater created around issues that regional and community leaders said were important to small Minnesota towns. In Bagley, we chose plays dealing with manners, family time, and the gaps between generations. Here's a sample of what happened in our intergenerational community conversation.
And that's how we came up with those 3 in our group.
It's kind of the silent, always there.
It's just the accepted cool thing to do.
The wisest person and the one with most experience. I would like to be over here.
I think that 2.
We felt one of the areas lacking would be the kind of leadership needed to pull together particularly community theater.
Our generation has lived and I think to some extent in a positive way takes that diversity aspect for granted because we have been involved in being placed in situations of diversity our whole lives.
We thought as barriers that sometimes the attitude is not a necessity unless the plays involve family members, grandkids, and whatever, then they'll hold.
And when the Climb acting troupe brought their truck and portable stage and sets to Bagley, they performed and they educated.
I really enjoyed the play, and I thought it did a good job of portraying the situations that we talked about with the manners.
It was just fun seeing the final product of what we talked about doing, and I just got to see the generation gap one. And it's fun to see how they can tell the story without words, but just all dancing and movement and pantomime. Very cool.
I mean, they did a good job expressing themselves, and the doggy on doing the poo part was really funny.
Did you enjoy it?
It was good. I thought it was good. Try to teach these kids some manners.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people from all generations had a chance to be entertained and learn some important lessons at the same time. By all accounts, Climb Across Minnesota was a huge success.
What was your favorite part?
The part where I slipped in the pool and nobody came to help.